Man, this Mercury retrograde season has really messed with us. We haven't been able to record.
Not successful. And I think, Millie, 1 or 2 years ago, you were like, "We're not recording in Mercury retrograde."
Yes, and I think
I
that's why.
forgot that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna laugh. It's not echoing now, but as soon as we try to be, like, smart, it's gonna go ding, 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 ding.
Hi, I'm Millie Murillo.
I'm Ashley Torrent.
And I'm Patsy Kenny.
Welcome to the Blue Butterfly Effect podcast, a gathering place for real conversations and quiet revolutions.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Blue Butterfly Effect. I am Patsy Kenny, here with Ashley Torrance and Millie Murillo. We are so glad to be here. Today, we're going to be exploring a question that keeps finding its way into our conversations, into our client sessions, and I think into our daily lives. And that is, what does it actually mean to embody the light that lives within us? Um, so we'll get deeper into that, but before we do so, I'd love to invite Ashley to help us ground into the moment with one of her beautiful soul resets.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, let's do this. So no matter where you are, if you can just take a moment to pause, to become aware of your breath, allowing your body and your breath to meet this moment as it is and as you are. We take this as an opportunity to just slow down, just become more mindful with our conversation with ourselves, inviting different parts of us to rise, becoming mindful of our heart, becoming mindful of this present moment. And as we breathe, we just ask the parts of us that have a tendency to overthink or are attached to to-do lists and things outside of this conversation to step aside and just allow you to receive for a moment. Shifting gears into a softer space of receiving, of love, the conversation between your heart and soul. And as we do this, we invite the light of our soul to rise into our heart space, embracing our heart with its love, imagining your heart free falling into the arms of your soul so that you know that you are held. This reminder that love is always with you. No matter what is happening in the world, no matter what's happening in your world, love is always with you. And we invite that light of our soul to fill every corner of our being so our body feels that that love is always with us. Our divinity expressed in light, higher vibrational energy, in color and sound, in emotion. Just imagine your light for a moment radiating, you effervescent, illuminated, in love. Maybe take a moment and notice if you hear anything, if there's any color or sensations or feelings. How does your soul express itself within you? Then in your next breath, invite your light to connect to the earth. Let's take a moment to offer our love and gratitude to this beautiful planet. Thank you, Mama Earth, for being a source of love and medicine, beauty and inspiration. We offer you a prayer of peace and harmony in your body. We also offer our love to the collective body. We offer a prayer of peace and harmony and healing in this collective body. May all beings be free, May all beings remember that they are love. And staying connected to the earth, we invite our light to move up through the center of our bodies and out the crown of our head. As we expand our light into the universe, we're shining root to crown. And we offer our love and gratitude to the sun, the moon, the stars, all the magical and mystical forces that support our life here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just feeling into your own radiance, breathing with your expression of love. You take a moment and ask yourself, how does your light want to express itself in the world? What would that look like or feel like? Be- Notice any images or sensations that arise and just hold them in your heart. And then when you're ready, come back to the awareness of your body, come back to the space you're in, and then open your eyes. Oh, Ash, thank you so much. That was a beautiful way to begin embodying our light. I feel like these moments of consciousness and presence around around calling our attention to it, where it lives within us, and how it is, how we have agency around how we want to express it outward, is a beautiful starting place for this conversation today. Um, I was reflecting a bit about how we come into this world and we are light beings. We are for the whole time we're here on the planet. But when babies are born, there's so much energy and enthusiasm and right, like magnetism toward that light. And that light is so pure and innocent. And then as we grow, we start to dim it based on our conditions and our environment, and maybe like who's reflecting or deflecting that from us back to us. Um, and how over time it can become something that we almost like shy away from shining. Um, and we can recognize it easily in others, but not so easily in ourselves. And I think, especially as the world feels more like the energy of the world feels more dense and dark, there's a real responsibility in owning our light and shining it and embodying it. Um, so I wanted to kind of start there and get some of your personal reflections around the topic.
It's important to name that everyone expresses their light differently. I don't know, there might be this feeling of needing to do something more or needing to be anything really beyond yourself or something different than yourself. And I think that everyone carries and shares their light differently. I mean, I've been around people who just their smile and like their way of being is like, oh, I love being around this person, right? Or just having a meal with a most introverted friend, right? And it's very intimate and almost very quiet. That's them showing their light in their own powerful way. All of that to say that I think that sometimes we may shy away from our own light in its natural expression and essence because there might be this feeling that it has to look a certain way.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you were talking, this idea of how we are taught about sameness, that there should be a sameness, like about our, I'm trying to think if that's the right word, but like we're conditioned to be similar and same, and anything outside of the way we're conditioned looks weird or odd or like an outlier, or we put a label as if something's wrong with it. And so the idea of sameness there's safety in it. I think about when we're in school or like high school, elementary school, anybody outside of that sameness is shunned. Um, and how important it is at this time to reclaim the unique expression of our light. Like who did we come in this world to be? What did that look like? I also thought of I was telling Patsy the other day, I think I was a little bit of a rascal when I was a kid. I think I was like really silly and wanted to be a cut up. And that was really, my mom did not like that at all. Like it became dangerous to be a cut up. So I shut down my laughter. I shut down that silliness in me because like it wasn't welcome. And I'm in the process of taking that back. And I have a lot of grief for that part of me that just wanted to like dispel some of the seriousness in my family through
Yeah.
humor. Um, which would have been so great to have some light in that house. Um, yeah.
I think there is something about being a child, right? And when we are that young, that it can be taken away, that light can be taken away, or we can be trained and conditioned at a very young age to not express your very natural light in a certain way. And I think that reclaiming that is, I think, can be a lifelong journey, a lifelong process, a lifelong, I don't know, um, purpose in itself because it's so important. I think it adds that there's a remembering. I think when we intentionally go start reclaiming that part of ourselves, there's a remembering, there's a almost a wholeness to us or a part of us that we begin to realize, oh, I forgot that was there, or I didn't know how this could feel to me as an adult.
Mhm. Definitely. And I'm thinking of the different ways in which that light, right? Because we are individuals, it's expressed differently, as you named, but all the different angles in which it can be dimmed too, right? Like, I feel like for me, part of that was even just in the way I expressed through like the clothing. I was dressed by my mother. Like, oh my God, until I was so old. Like now in my adulthood, like, and it's really kind of funny. It's like that expression isn't super far off from the guidelines I was given, but just to have the autonomy to like expand beyond those parameters of how I should show up, what I should wear, and all of that kind of thing. Um, yeah, there's a remembering in that process. There's also, before you get to the remembering, it feels a little wobbly or like uncertain because you haven't done it. You haven't been practiced in doing it, or it feels like, yeah. Um, you named safety, Ash. Like it feels like there's like a risk in doing that and like expressing yourself in a way that was ridiculed or like diminished.
Yeah, I think this is where recognizing the light in others is such a great reminder of when we see the light in others is because we are seeing the light in ourselves, right? I think I've said this before, but the Abraham Hicks teachings talk about how when you witness someone in their light, someone in their joy, that is spirit delivering a message to you that that is possible for you too, and that that is in you as well, right? That that is what is in all of us. Um, and a lot of times, because of that conditioning, a lot of times from childhood, it can feel like I can see the light in another, but I can't accept that for myself. It's more for others, but not me. Others can do that, but I can't. And every time that we experience that, I think that's just the divine reaching out and saying, please remember this about yourself. Remember this about yourself. And the divine is so kind and generous that it will do that a lot, right?
Yeah.
So every time that I think that every time we have this feeling of them, not me, somehow others have permission to do something that we feel we don't. I think a very important reframe that we can have there is, um, oh, that's the divine speaking to me, that this is possible
Mhm.
for me too. So how can I look at this differently? And that's really hard in the moment. Um, but I think to set an intention to see our light more and allowing ourselves to be reminded by the light of others is really transformative.
Yeah. I feel, and there's, I was thinking about personal responsibility. There's a personal responsibility in allowing ourselves to witness others' light and to receiving it and to being with it. And I feel like our ability to be with our own light really happens when we move away from what happened to me to how do I want to transform my story? What do I want to do with what happened to me? And I feel like when we're in the place of, and it's so natural of understanding our experience, our backstory, um, integrating and processing it, it's hard to begin to accept that we are good in light. But when we have, I think all of us have this moment where we can stand in this threshold moment of how do I take what happened to me and alchemize it? And it's in the alchemy that we begin to open up to the possibility that there is another story, that our backstory, our soul story is actually here to like become a part of us. It's like the jewels of our skin. It's like tattoos on our energy and our soul. And I think when we've begin to embody that story in a different way from like victim to personal responsibility, and loving ourselves through that, then we can begin to like see the light in us and welcome it and receive it. I think it's really hard to do that before then, if that makes sense.
No, it really does, and I think that's a beautiful bridge toward, like, what does it actually mean to embody your own light? Um, it really is, it's like witnessing that. It's holding space and loving energy for the part of you that was repressed or, like, that light that's been there all along and encouraging it to come out in new ways and maybe small, um, efforts at first, um,
Yeah.
and holding that intention and attention around it. It starts to show up and become more fully integrated into our day-to-day lives, and it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much of owning our light comes with expansion, right? So when we think about it from a nervous system level, anytime that we have this intention or desire to step into a different version of ourselves, or we feel called to do that, our bodies, our brains do what they do best to try and keep us safe, right? And so the expansion of owning our light is quite uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, deeply uncomfortable. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's gonna look differently for different people. It plays out differently in different scenarios. I think all of us in some way, shape, or form have experienced expansion, right? And when we honor the growing pain or the process of that, we tend to come out the other side pretty glad that we made that decision. Pretty grateful that we made the decision we made to move through that and come out the other end. Maybe not a completely different person, but I think a more enhanced version of ourselves.
To that point, I believe the reason we've incarnated here into this earth plane is to expand our light, is to evolve and grow, and with that comes, like, uncomfortable, painful, yeah, just these moments that ask more of us and ask us to become or remember. I love that word, remember, like more of who we already are and to start acting from a place that feels more fully aligned. I feel like that's the purpose, to stay in that place of not owning our light, not stepping further into it. It's uncomfortable, but that's the whole point. Like,
I was about to say it's freaking uncomfortable and hard. It's really hard. And it does ask us to stretch.
it does. In like ways in which you're like, am I capable of stretching this far? And I think in the stretching, in the saying yes to that, in staying committed to the discomfort of that expansion, the satisfaction, the way the like trade-off of the joy that's available to us, of the like strength that we earn through sticking with it, the confidence we build in ourselves, the love we feel for ourselves, like that just adds to the bucket of light that gets to radiate and support all beings it interacts with, um, as it moves through the plane.
The remembering of our light comes a lot of times with bold action. And so I think it can take quite some time, perhaps even years, for someone, depending on their process, depending on what they're going through in life and all of the things. But it can take a few years to take that bold action and feel like, okay, it can feel like, okay, I'm just kind of diving into the unknown,
Yeah.
right? But to remain in a space that where your light feels confined, that has repercussions too, I think. And I think those repercussions look like, it can look like resentment. It can look like a sense of stagnation. It can look like perhaps, I don't know, depression or perpetual sadness. It can look like a lot of things. And those things aren't bad. They're just important signs and it's important information. If I'm moving through this, what is being asked of me here? What am I being asked to look at? And those scenarios can unfold for various reasons, but when we know that we are meant to take a bold action or what feels bold to us to step into a brighter version of ourselves, the cost of not doing that, I think, is pretty miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. I mean, I feel like on a practical level, we're being asked, like, what does embodying your light mean? And I feel like it means living more authentically, living authentically. And I know for me, there's been different layers of living authentically. Like, there's one place that I've been in relationship to my creativity where I've been stuck for so many years. I mean, probably 20 years of being scared of my own voice in a lot of ways. So I have this place and I feel like that's transforming with this eclipse season. I feel like I'm finally like, but to get there, I had to take other actions, other bold actions, other authentic actions, which is around my work, who I surround myself with, what I eat, how I take care of my body, where I live, like um my daily practices, all of those things that required discomfort, but ended up adding more light or more joy to my life, allowed me to live more authentically, are supporting this bigger thing about my creativity that's been like hanging over my head that I haven't been able to like fully grasp. All those other ways I've chosen to be a little bit braver are allowing the bigger expression to come through, if that makes sense, you know? Um, and I feel like we need to remember that there can be a buildup of smaller actions for a bigger action, but all of them are stepping outside our comfort zone. All of them are saying, like, hey, I'm willing to try something different. I'm willing to be happier. I'm willing to experience more play, more joy. I'm willing to believe that I'm actually good. I believed in my badness for so long. I had bought into that narrative that I was bad and a piece of shit for so long. And to believe that you are good and that you have the possibility to be a source of light is like that idea alone is incredibly brave.
Truly. And in doing that, it's creating possibility for others to do the same. Like, I think we're constantly looking for examples, or at least I am in my life, to be like, oh, if that person can do that, I can do that too. Like that brave action, bold action sometimes is easier to take when we have examples to draw from of others who have done things that are bold and brave too. Um, it's reminding me of that Marianne Williamson quote around the deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, but that we're powerful beyond our own comprehension, and it's our light that frightens us because we ask that question like, well, who am I to be brilliant, and who am I to, like you said, who am I to be good? Like, I have to buy into that story. I've been living in this other one for so long, so it really does require a shift in order to say, like, you know what, I'm putting that down. Like, I've lived that one long enough, I've endured that one long enough, and it's almost like, there's nothing left to lose if I try in this direction. See what's on the other side. And through that, yes, some really beautiful payoffs can come from it.
And that in itself is a bold action, right?
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
Marianne Williamson, I don't know if it's her or if it's in A Course of Miracles, but there's also a quote that goes, "A miracle is a shift in perception." It's exactly what you two are speaking about right now. I think, from an astrological perspective, especially this year that we really are in, in the thick of it, and we're all really being called to this level of authenticity of ourselves that almost feel foreign, because over the last couple of years, perhaps the last decade, authenticity has become a performance. And so as we are being at a soul level, like really being pulled to make certain decisions, show up in a certain way, um, it can feel like, oh my God, this is like, I have to do this. I have to do this. Otherwise, something in me feels like it dies. And I don't know if that's what everyone's experiencing, but I know that I personally am having a little bit of that. And it is a year that is asking authenticity from soul. But I think that it's happening in a time where the world around us is changing so rapidly that, because it's changing so rapidly, it can feel like we have no grasp of it, and we've been grasped to our external reality for so long that now it's really calling us in, and we have to ask ourselves, well, who am I? That's I mean, that comes with answers, but we also have to give ourselves the permission to allow those answers to land. I don't know if that's too abstract, but that's kind of what I've picked up, like within myself, and in conversations I've had with clients in particular.
Mm. No, that makes sense. When I think about my kids, I think those of us that are supporting people, we're supporting generations of adults that were not allowed to express themselves authentically, or it was very rare. If you had a home that supported that. And when I think about my kids and I think about what they feel they have the right to explore within themselves, the right to express themselves, the right to create, I think of how often a parent said to me, "Who do you think you are?" And how often authority figures have said that to children. Who do you think you are to express yourself that way? Who do you think you are to act that way? That idea of who do we think we are? And if that ever comes out of my mouth to my children, please stop me. But my point being is I feel like this idea of living authentically is new to generations that are older than my kids. And I know it's still happening, and my kids are homeschooled, so they're a little bit protected from being called into sameness. But I feel like one of the things when you talk about we're being called into that space, Millie, I feel like creativity, that's one where my clients get stuck. Like, who am I the right to have a voice or express myself when everyone's talking? When there are people in the world who are suffering. I feel like a lot of people are frozen in their authentic expression, especially around creativity, which it doesn't have to be like the masses are seeing your creativity, even spending time writing a poem, writing a book, painting, whatever that looks like. Um, I feel like people are frozen right now because they don't feel like they have the right to express themselves or be different because of the way the world is. And I feel like what I want to say is we need to be in that more than ever. We need to shine light when other people are too busy surviving and not able to.
Like, we need to be creatively expressing and finding our authentic expression and living our lives to the fullest so that we can add more light to the collective when people are struggling and that's not even a place that they can even think about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it totally did. It totally did, and it's making me think about the work I support people with in their their businesses. So oftentimes I'm working with business owners, and sometimes that's a solo business owners. Other times they have a team. But in that, we all set off to, if we're running our own businesses, to express ourselves through our business. It's like there's these stages of, okay, I'm starting the thing. But we kind of confine ourselves, and we've talked about this a little bit in different conversations we've had here on the podcast, but even in breaking out into your own practice, you kind of build the same scaffolding you've seen or you've been part of before stepping out into your own thing. And so a lot of times my work is like supporting people and seeing how they can do it their own way and how supportive that is not only of them but of the clients that they're supporting or the products they're bringing into the world, like that unique expression and story and our lived experience, like when that all comes together, that's what makes such a compelling product or compelling service or the connective thread that actually brings you into space with the people you most want to serve. And so I just fully resonate with what you said, Ash, and I can see how that's showing up in the work that I do as well. And now it feels even more important now because all those systems and structures that we've adhered to in our society are crumbling. It's like, no, it really is on us to claim how we want to be in the world, where we want to live in the world, how we want to show up to our clients, to our friends, to our family members, building from the inside out versus adapting to what the outer world is expecting of us.
Yeah, the idea that someone else dictates how we express ourselves in this world is crazy to me now, but that's what we were taught. Don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this, you can't do that. It's insane. And now, like, it's heartbreaking to see all these people fighting for their own unique expression. Like, who am I? Like, how do I want to be, live, connect in the world? And it's like it's very new to a lot of people because of the training.
Yep.
Mhm.
And when you've been trained not to be in your light, like fighting for that light is really hard.
With that expansion and that growth, I think an important thing to name is how you stepping into your light is going to weed some people out because it's that's I don't know if that's just kind of the process, right? We can really get into it, but I think in some ways everyone has experienced that. You step into something different, something that you feel called to at a moment in your life, and some people around you are going to have a problem with that, or it's going to reflect back to them, perhaps whether they're aware of it or not, places in which they haven't claimed their own life, right? And I think that one of the most important and loving things that we can do for ourselves is that when we have people around us not reflecting back or celebrating our light, that we remove ourselves from those spaces. There and that in itself can be a difficult thing to do, but it's just not worth it. Because when we talk about it from an energetic perspective, you have to remember, right? People's negative thoughts towards you have an impact. They have an effect. And especially if the person that, some the people that you're around aren't aware that they're doing that, because sometimes people are not aware. You feel something, you sense something. Are they jealous? Are they this? Are they competing? Why does this feel weird? Anytime that a client has come to me with something like that, I'm like, they probably are. Does that mean that that person is bad? Does that mean that that this has to be something that ends just horribly? No, but it is important information. If we have grown up And all of us have, whether at home or just by living in this world, we have been conditioned to dim that light, to forget that light, to just put it in the back burner. When we are remembering, it is our responsibility to surround ourselves with people that see it, that celebrate it, that respect it, and that want you to be in that space.
Yeah, and remind you of it when you
Yeah.
forget it.
Yes. I think it's probably one of the most important things in life.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Mhm.
And finding your way to that place, right? In the conditioning comes with this moment of like recognition. And I'm sure we've all had these moments we can recall, like specific experiences where you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm choosing now to move forward differently. But with that recognition, there's often grief that comes up. And I think that's a part of it that needs to be witnessed and like felt and processed. Whether, alone and also in company of a practitioner or a good friend or somebody who is supportive of your light. Like, I think of the people on my path when I went through this epic long journey of like change after change, some of it self, propelled, others other aspects of it like unexpected, and it just felt like so much change all at once, and it came with a lot of grief and many years of unraveling the conditioning piece. So now it feels like I'm in a position where I'm actively choosing the expansion. But before the expansion often comes contraction, and that's very normal. I feel like that's important to name too.
Yeah, things really change. It's when you step into this, you're also willing to let go of drama, negative excitement, chaos, um, things that we often connect with others around, um, gossip, things like that. And when you're choosing to live in a different way, it can start to feel lonely sometimes because you're deciding not to be around people or in environments that are unhappy. Unhappy, I mean, understand it's not that you're not around people that are choosing unhappiness chronically, that are choosing negativity chronically. Um, and it can feel kind of lonely. And then people can also then put you on a pedestal of, oh, you've done this and I'm not as good as you. And that feels lonely. It's like, no, we're just humans connecting. Or they don't want to be around you because they feel ashamed. I've had people say to me, like, you can feel their shame at where their life is. And they're like, oh, and your life is, and it's like, no, 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 no. That's not why I'm here. It can being trying to live more authentically can just trigger and bring up so much in other people. And it's important to remember not to take that personally and just be aware of it. Like that's not your problem to take on. But it does change your environment and your community drastically. When we're talking about the community changing and your relationships changing, I think it's important to understand that this isn't like a hierarchy of good or bad, better than other. What we're talking about is like the way we orient our life, it becomes different. What's important, what's vital to our well-being is different. And, too good for other people or not good enough or any of those things. Or if we go back to the way we want to orient our life and what we want our life to feel like and look like, that just naturally becomes different. And what you'll find is that as your community changes, there may be some grief, some loss around who you surround yourself with or the things you do. Well, what you also find is that other individuals are connecting to you, are drawn to you. That light attracts people who feel good to be around. I separated from my family, not really understanding at the time that I was fighting for my light, but I was dying being in relationship to them. And in the past 20 something years of having separated from that, I have created my own family, my own community that resonates more with who I want to be and what feels good to me, which again isn't better, worse, good, or bad. It's just what I'm here for. So when you feel the loneliness, understand your people are coming. They just naturally will come to you.
Mhm. Your people are coming, your opportunities are coming, right? It's like the more of that shedding we do, the more action we take in alignment with who we are and how we want to be, and how we want to feel. It all reorients.
Also, the sense of contentment you feel when you're living your life in a honest way with who you want to be, you've kind of are like, it just all doesn't matter as much as it used to because you feel so at peace and content. You like fall in love with yourself and you're in relationship to something that just feels bigger and more fulfilling, that a lot of the things you thought you needed don't matter as much.
It's an incredible feeling. When I first started feeling content, I was like, what is this foreign feeling? Like, I started looking around, I'm like going in the crevices of my mind and sort of like, wait, what? Like, I'm like expecting the mind to start. And I'm like, no, this is what contentment feels like, you know? Wow.
Yes. Peace.
Peace, inner peace. Wow.
Millie, do you want to add anything?
No.
You're good.
Content.
You're content. You're good. Pats, do you want to add anything?
I have 2 different pathways at the moment of supporting people in the discovery phase of their branding. If they need support around talking through ideas, refining them, getting clear. And then the secondary pathway, which I'm really excited about, is those who've done the thinking, who have the idea, but really are looking for support in accountability toward taking action, aligned action toward that, bringing that idea or that shift in their business model into the world. And I'm doing that in 8-week sprints. So if either of those pathways feel interesting, you can find an opportunity to get on my calendar for a clarity chat and we can go from there. But I think all of that, all of the work I'm bringing forward into the world really at this moment is doubling down on that alignment piece. Like, um, how to really be in your business and in your life in a way that feels most authentic and aligned for you. How about you?
I have 2 person events coming up. One in Vancouver, I'll be a speaker at the In Bloom Love and Relationship Summit, April 10th through 12th. You can join us in person or they do have virtual tickets. And I'm also co-hosting with Carrie Higgins a Soul Reset retreat here in Playa Grande, which I'm really excited about. You can find information about those on my website. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you in person this year.
Thank you for joining us. If something stirred your soul or made you smile, share it with a friend or leave us a review. Until next time.